Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the 2A Brotherhood podcast.
Welcome to 2A Brotherhood. And
Yep.
the quote of the day is, if you shake it more than twice, you playing with it.
I love it. I love it. Guys, we got a special guest with us tonight, Layton, a.k.a. the entrepreneur, businessman, real estate mogul extraordinaire. He's graced us with his presence this evening. So if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit, and we'll get into it. So
yeah. Hey guys, thanks for the invite. I know been a while coming, and appreciate you guys giving me a chance to jump on here and share what life has done for me in the stages of life we're in. So, they come from all over the place. And when Josh asked how he wanted me to introduce me, I said, man, I don't even know. And he kind of put me in a midlife crisis because I wasn't sure what my title is anymore in life. But there's too many hats that get worn when you step into the world of self-employment. You're a little bit of everything. So, for sure.
Dude, that's excellent. Wonderful. So, we talked briefly a little bit about some of the topics we wanted to talk about, but I just quickly wanted to say that we met last summer at a children's camp in Wisconsin. It was really fun. Do you think I can, or would you rather not share the details of that?
No, do please.
Yeah, so it was just a really good children's vacation Bible school camp, and we did the worship, the teaching. Layton here was a really good speaker and really engaging with the children. We just had a great time. It was a 1 week up there out in the woods, and that's how we met. And I've been trying to get him on ever since. So
yeah, it's the camp up there is incredible. It's the camp I was born and raised in. So I was born and raised in northern Wisconsin. Went to a small church up there, and small town church, small town world. And so summer camp was the highlight of the year. And the honor that it was to be asked to go back, and we're now headed back for our third year. To go back to when you go to the place that changed your life and was so influential and foundational to what made you who you were, and then you go back and the weight that is on you to understand that the same kids that are sitting in front of you, the impact that you can have on that kid, man, it's incredible. It is a humbling experience to go back to the place that you were and given that position of authority. It is not something that is taken lightly by any stretch of the imagination. So, for sure,
words, man.
Say again.
You got away with words, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yes, one of the things I also am is a pastor. So, when you stand in front of people, communication is key. So, I'm not the best at that part of it, but I'm very real, a little too real sometimes, and I get myself in trouble quite a bit. But I think that's why people also enjoy the opportunity to just hang out and talk, is because there's a realness that Josh asked me, is there anything off limits? There's nothing off limits with my life. If there's something that's off limits with my life, then something's not right, because we're supposed to be an open book, and there's no secrets that I have. And the point of living this life is to better those around us. And when you are hiding and sectioning off portions of your life, you're not bettering those around you. You're excluding people from your life, and that's not what we're called to do.
Whoa, man. That clip right there is going to go viral.
I mean, but that, honestly, that's the problem with, well, we don't have to get into the American church tonight, but
We
ever
can't.
the,
You
I'm telling
guys
you,
don't,
man.
you don't have that much time on your hands. I can tell you that much. You want to get on that mountain.
Nice, nice.
But
That's a good
yeah, I
one.
mean, it's been a privilege and honor to go up there and speak at camps. We've got a couple more camps lined up this year, which is pretty cool. Um, Continue to open doors and continue to walk through them. So that's kind of the name
That's
of the game when it comes to entrepreneurship. So,
Mhm.
but
excellent.
for sure.
Well, yeah.
Nice.
So thank you again. That was wonderful. Very well spoken. So, what topic did you guys want to go into first, in terms of Layton's
Let's
extensive skill set?
let's start out with the fireworks.
All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, yeah. So it's funny the classic fireworks scenes. You've got the Patriot where he blows up the ship and the lady screams, "Oh, fireworks! Yay!" That's one of my favorite all time scenes, and when it comes to fireworks. And then Joe Dirt, you can't mention fireworks without mentioning Joe
Dude,
Dirt.
I sent them the GIF or whatever when I
Yeah.
told them that you were in the fireworks.
You're sitting there running
This
a
is the good
fire.
stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it actually started. I worked for 10 years when I moved down to San Antonio. Came down here for Bible college and was in my second year of Bible college, and I started working at a small nonprofit. And one of the ways that they raised money was operating a fireworks stand. And it's a very simple business model that takes a lot of work initially, but then when you get in through relationships, man, you talk about banking. So, it just what happened was originally the money was going into the nonprofit, and then I got a call from the owners of the business, and they were like, "Hey, we need some help running some extra stands. You know anybody?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, me," because I knew how much money was in it. And so, man, I've been doing it for 15 years now. I tell people all the time it saved my marriage, financially saved my marriage. When we first got married, our annual budget, I found it. Man, we moved 6 years ago and I found it. I probably still have it in a box. We made a budget when we first got married. Our income was $700 a month in 2000. When was my anniversary? 2011 we got married.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, 2011 we
Uh-oh.
got married. It's been 14 years. But dude, no lie, the budget that we knew was coming in every month was $700. We didn't have
Wow,
a
where
car
did you
payment.
live?
Man, so what we did is fireworks, dude. So what happened was we were missionaries, and so the only money that was coming in was what people would give us. So we had to raise our own support, and we were working in the public schools here in San Antonio. And what I would do is I had a credit card, dangerous game to play, playing roulette. But what I would do is we'd use the credit card for 6 months, and then fireworks would go to pay off the credit card every month or every 6 months. Because in Texas, you only sell 2 times a year, July 4th and New Year's. And so every 6 months, for probably 5 years, that's what that money was, the extra money that kept us financially afloat. But man, my first apartment, we rented a little 1 bedroom. My wife cried herself to sleep probably the first 3 nights we were there. It was bad, man. Been through some stuff with this woman, and she's stuck by my side. It's incredible. But so fireworks has been crazy influential part of our lives. It probably annually brings in right now for us about $40,000. So, and
That's
I
not bad at all.
probably work. We hire a lot of people now, so I probably work within the year, um, maybe 40 hours for the whole year to
Wow.
make money. So I'm making $1,000 an hour, I guess, if you look
I
at
was
it
about to
that way.
say, that
Hey,
sounds pretty good.
you guys hiring?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But man, that's the crazy part. People hear how much money is in it,
Yeah.
but what they don't want to see, and this is true with almost anything in life, is once you start reaping the fruit and the benefits, people just think, "Hey, I want that," but they don't see the challenges that it took to get there. So for
Exactly.
10 years, sleeping in my car outside of a fireworks stand for every night for 4 weeks out of the year to get to the point where you've earned the right to get a store, to get an alarm system, so you don't have to do that struggle anymore. Nobody wants the struggle anymore. They just want to walk into the money. That's not how life is. There's a struggle to it, and unless you got daddy, and then good for you. But the rest of us, poor suckers, you want a little slice of the American dream, you got to go work for it.
Yeah.
What kind of fireworks you sell?
So Texas is pretty liberal on their fireworks, not as liberal as New Mexico or Oklahoma. There's still quite a bit of regulations down here. but we got snake sparklers, and it's
The
a
good stuff.
variety. We're allowed to
Whistling
sell.
kitty
We're allowed to sell the
chasers.
cakes and the artilleries. Yeah, the good stuff. We're allowed to sell pretty much anything, bottle rockets, any of that kind of stuff, up to a certain gram. We're not allowed to go over 500 grams.
With or without the scooter stick.
So yeah, and then so there's quite a bit of regulations. Like we can't sell anything that you can use to make a firework. So we can't sell gunpowder, fuses. We can't assemble our own. So but it's a very simple system. Basically, the business provides the warehouse space. The business provides all the product, and then you sign off on it. So beginning of the season, they say, hey, you got $10 worth of product. And you're like, okay, you go in, you count it, you confirm it, and then you start selling. And at the end of the season, you go back in and you recount your product, and you say, hey, well, we got $6 left of product in here. Well, that means you owe the company $4. So if your credit card transactions, all your cash coming in equals the $4, then you didn't have any losses. So if you have losses, let's say something happened, you got a bad count, or something went out the door, or somebody rung up something wrong, that comes directly from your paycheck. So the goal is to be the actual owner of the fireworks, but it's pretty hard to get a permit to become an owner anymore. So it's easier just to do what I do and not have the headache of all that other stuff. But and then out of those $4, we make anywhere from 15 to 20% based on what we sell. So our commissions are really well paid out. So it's 2 weeks out of the year in July, and then 10 days out of the year around New Year's. But I go in to do the setup, and basically most of my hours are spent doing the 2 counts. So.
Do you think it sucks you can't get cherry bombs and M80s anymore?
So yeah, we still have things that they call them M88s now.
Yeah.
But they're not like a quarter stick of dynamite like you used to be able to get. Now there is some states, New Mexico and Oklahoma, are still pretty lenient on the fireworks. I don't know what the biggest gram you can get over there, but like we can't sell year round. A lot of states, Wisconsin, you can sell year round. But Texas is kind of weird on when you can sell. But overall, it's they loosened up a couple days, but really it's just the 2 seasons. They also allow us to sell on Texas Independence Day, but it's not worth the hassle. You spend too much hours trying to do the counts and stuff. You're not making any money. So just sticking to the two traditional days, July 4th and New Year's.
We used to go to this. Yeah, we used to go to this fireworks stand in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They tore that down.
Oh, really?
Can you sell in Maryland?
If you don't
You
get
can
caught.
only sell the good stuff here. Sparklers, snakes.
The pop-pops.
Yeah, the pop-pop.
Yeah, Sam's Club can sell those now. Walmart shows up with pop-pops and sparklers now.
Yeah, it's horrible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Fun.
It's like a single shot confetti blaster.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's brutal, man. That's un-American.
Right?
It is. But that's what Maryland is just un-American.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, we used to spend so much money up there because it was always buy one get one free, or it was what was it?
Get half off or get one free.
Yeah, you could either choose to get half off your entire order or buy one get one free, which always we would down, because why not?
Yeah. I mean, the prices have gone crazy over the last 15 years that I've been doing it. A small 6-pack of artilleries when I first started was $9.99. That same small pack last year sold for $24.99. A lot of it has to do with shipping stuff coming over. Shipping costs have gone up really high, and obviously everything's coming from China. So,
what do you think that embargo is going to do? I mean, not embargo, the tariff.
Yeah, I actually don't know if he's done anything on fireworks. The good thing is this company that we sell with, they are smart enough to have shipping containers full of these things. I mean, they've got years worth stockpiled up in there. I mean, there was one time I took a picture and sent it to the owner because I was laughing so hard. This was probably 3 or 4 years ago. and they rolled up with a box of stuff, and the date on it, stamped on it, said 1995. And I said, y'all, I can't be selling these. And they said, light one off. If it goes up, sell it. I mean, gunpowder don't die. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's gunpowder. So I lit it up and we sold them. So,
Wow.
but yeah. So it all is gunpowder and graffiti, basically. I mean, or confetti. I mean, it's just lights. I tell people all the time, you're literally lighting your money on fire.
Right.
People come in and they drop bank. Like, I'm like, God almighty. Even if I had the money, I don't think I could justify doing what you're doing. But thank God they're doing it. I ain't complaining. I ain't complaining.
What's your favorite firework?
So I don't mess with anything. I go straight to the cakes. Cakes are the things that you light once and you run away, and all the lights go up. Man, people that are doing artillery shells one at a time, I'm like, forget that stuff. Like, that's too much work. I'm fat, overweight, lazy. I'm American, so I just want to light something.
You just used to
I want to light something,
something.
I want to light something, run away, and get this thing out and get it over with. So I don't mess with any artilleries. I just go straight for the cakes. But I always tell people, don't go for the big price tickets. Let's say you come in with a budget of $500 on fireworks. Don't go buy the one $500 firework. Go buy 10 50s, and you're going to get a way better show. You can light 2 or 3 at a time. You'll get a variety. It'll last way longer, and everybody will be way more happy than you light the one off. And most of our fireworks, there's only one that lasts longer than a minute. It's like me. It's my sex life. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, if you're going to do that, you might as well go get 10 50s and get 10 minutes worth of it. So, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Have you seen that?
In Josh's neighborhood, because his house was always the place where we did all the fireworks and everything. We started getting known for the fireworks shows for July 4th and for New Year's.
Nice.
And then eventually, after what was it, on the 4th year, there was we had spectators come out. Everybody was pulling up lawn chairs because they were going to get a free fireworks show.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And they stopped calling the cops. I think
that's right. Our neighbors were notorious for that kind of thing, and then they ended up starting to have their own fireworks show, because it was like the house that was next door was like a mansion. It was like real old money, because they had history in family that owned that area or something. And because on the East Coast, it was one of the original colonies, so a lot of it goes back a long way. Real old money. And so and then people from up the street and down the street would all convene on our street and just kick back. They would pull up in cars and just watch.
That's awesome. Yeah, so there's this area that, man, I'm telling you, you get into any kind of government regulation, you get into some stupid stuff. But so what they started doing is they wanted places. So they said, if you sell fireworks, you have to provide a safe zone to launch them, right? And so they tried this law for a while. So what they basically did is you have multiple companies that are allowed to sell, and they always build right next to each other, right? So you can't be in city limits. So if there's any major highway headed outside of San Antonio, as soon as you get outside San Antonio, boom, there's a fireworks stand almost every time. Well, then there's not only one, there's 4, because they all build right next to each other, right? And so they would make these safe zones, which was basically you take 1,000 people, and it was supposed to be a fire safe zone. In other words, there was a fire truck there, but you take 1,000 people and you give them gunpowder, and then you shove them in a small area, and you're like, have fun. Dude, it was chaos, man. It was the complete opposite of a safe zone. It was ridiculous. So they finally did away with it and said they didn't mandate those anymore. They said you were optional to provide them, and they were asking us to provide them, but we stopped doing it right away because it was so much of a liability. Everybody was like, it blew up in my face. And I was like, well, it wasn't yours. It was the neighbors next to you that they kicked it over because they're being stupid. And it was so dumb, man. But it's just one of those things where they, in the name of safety, they actually create more chaos every time. And so, it was incredible.
Fun.
Especially when you put it in upside down by accident.
Or throw them at each other.
That's happened a couple times.
Roman candle wars and bottle rocket wars, man. Growing up, those were freaking awesome, dude. I remember Roman candles getting shot with them, running around shooting each other. Roman candle wars. It was fantastic. But we used to find I'm not going to get in trouble by PETA or something, am I? but we used to find like frogs and shove firecrackers in their mouths and then watch them explode. It was like, you know, we were stupid. I don't know why. I mean,
It was fun.
barefoot country hick running around the woods blowing frogs up. I don't know what the heck we were doing. But
You was just
Allegedly.
having fun, man.
allegedly.
Allegedly.
I heard allegedly people was putting big bottle rockets on mice and shooting them in the sky.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things with some bottle rockets
Uh-huh.
too. As well. But
That's
yeah,
allegedly.
so this is funny bureaucracy stuff too. So they made the little ones illegal because they said that they started fires, and so all the company did was like, oh, that's illegal. So they just made them bigger. So now they're like,
Yeah.
they're this big, and it's like, guys, like, man, it's incredibly dumb. Just yeah, we're gonna stop fires, but all we're gonna do is just make them bigger so that we can
Bottle
sell them.
rockets are fun, man. I like
Yeah.
bottle rockets.
Yeah, and now they have bottle rockets. They have bottle rockets with artillery shells hooked to them. So basically, it'll launch up. You'll see it up, and then the big old blast up top. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
They're pretty
This
fun when
year-
you shoot them underwater too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This year I found these my girlfriend got these like they have a
You
So
blew
very
away with that one.
information.
Hey, good. Jump back on that.
yeah, she got
Okay.
these like penny sticks, but they don't have fuses. You just throw them on the ground. It's like,
Yeah.
did you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, they're called the torpedoes.
Yeah.
So
So
basically,
yeah,
it's a black cat that you don't have to light.
Hmm.
It's a
That's like the
huge-
poppers.
It's
Like
a
the little
popper, but
poppers.
it's on crack cocaine. It's massive, and it's just super loud.
Which
Yeah,
brand
they're-
do you think has the loudest penny sticks? Because I think Black Cat is pretty loud.
Yeah, so black cat's a pretty hard one to find anymore. Black cat's made in America still. It used to be. And so when you say black cat, a lot of people walk in the store and be like, hey, we're looking for black cats. And I'm like, well, when you say black cat, you're looking for a name brand. But I know what you mean. You want a firecracker is what you want. But so I know there's only one store in San Antonio. It's about 30 minutes outside of town that still sells American-made fireworks. But the price, man, you can't beat the Chinese, man. They're just hard, dude. I mean, I know he's trying to, but that's an uphill battle. That's a big fight.
That's who made them. You know, the Chinese made them. So
Yeah. I mean, that's the original. We're just we're helping the indigenous people make who
Right.
made them. So.
it's like America making AKs.
Yeah, that's true. They are the original makers of it. They've been doing it for a lot longer than we have.
Yeah, we took their technology and we were like, guns, yes, let's do it.
Kind of what we do. We just take everybody's technology and improve on it. That's kind of what.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. Make it better.
The American way.
Mhm.
Oh, they use this to celebrate? Let's use it to kill.
Yeah.
There we go.
They used to bring joy to people.
the main.
For sure.
We have. Oh man, I'm trying to pull up this picture, but it's not working. I have I had some pictures from one of the 4th of July's and New Year's Eve. I took a picture of like the whole shebang, everything we bought. It's a ton of fireworks. We like getting those. They have those kits that come with like maybe 2 boxes of mortars, some penny sticks, some the M88s, and like a whole like long roll of the penny sticks. You know,
Firecrackers.
I think it was called the
firecrackers.
Honest Abe or something, Josh.
there was one. It was Uncle Sam was one of
Yeah,
them, and yeah, the Uncle Sam
Honest.
kit.
I think one was Honest Abe. It had President Lincoln on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
And then obviously we bought like, I would say this. I count like maybe 10 of those. The ones you were talking about. You light it once, and it has
Yeah.
like 10 to 100 shots
Yeah.
that fire out of it. So,
Yeah.
those are the best. Absolutely.
Those are absolutely the best. Yeah.
We had these huge. I don't know what you would call them. They're basically just like oversized bottle rockets. Is kind of what they look
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
like. You know what I'm talking about. It has like a yeah, that's all it is. It's just a
Yeah, the
giant
one with
version.
the kick-ass stick,
And then-
right?
Yeah, and then they have the giant. It's like a Roman candle,
Yeah.
and it
King
has like
Candles.
the plastic tip that you
Yep.
at the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a couple of those, and yeah,
Was that
man.
down here or was that up in Maryland?
Red, white, and boom? That was in Maryland. I wish I could.
Allegedly in Maryland.
Allegedly.
Yeah. Allegedly, we allegedly went to Pennsylvania and then allegedly shot him off in Maryland.
Transported them
We were
across.
living in Maryland at the time, but the fireworks were not there.
Yeah.
It's funny too because when you go and purchase it, they ask you,
Oh, did they really?
Mhm.
"Yeah,
Did
where are
you have
you
to show
going?"
did you have to show an ID?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, at the time, Josh was allegedly in the military in New York, and I can't believe that they're legal in New York and not in Maryland. Like that blew my mind. I'm like,
Right.
really? So
Interesting.
you could shoot these things off in New York City, but you can't shoot them off in Maryland.
Yeah, dude.
I was curious. Wasn't the law that you could buy them in Pennsylvania, but you couldn't use them in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania? Yeah,
They
Mhm.
changed that though.
that's so weird.
Shut up. Hang on. Wait. There was a law that you could buy them in Pennsylvania, but you had to go outside the state to use them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, man, that's crazy.
isn't
I
that
mean, I
weird?
guess they got the tax money from it, but they didn't want the safety hazard of it. I guess.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. Basically,
That's
they're like,
crazy.
we
Yeah,
don't want any responsibility for this, but here it is. Go have fun. Just
Mhm.
leave the state.
a great
Yeah.
YouTube video to watch is it's illegal to launch inside San Antonio, which everybody knows, but there's like $1 billion of fireworks that goes up every year inside the city limits. So there's a really cool thing to YouTube and
Seriously.
watch is like go like New Year's Eve San Antonio, Ken's 5, and what they do is on top of our Needle Tower, they'll put a camera. And so at midnight when everybody's launching them off, they just do a panoramic view of the city. It is incredible. Like, I mean, you're talking about just miles of fireworks going up. It is one of the cool. It's a very cool experience if you ever get a chance to come to San Antonio. I mean, it probably happens in other towns too. I don't even know, but
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
San Antonians love our fireworks.
Well, during
Dude, it's so
COVID
awesome.
in New
It's
York,
all over.
they were told to like stay indoors and not celebrate the new year for 2021.
Oh yeah,
And there was a chopper just flying over New York City, and everybody was setting off
Rooftops.
fireworks.
And stuff.
Yeah, everybody was doing it. They're like,
That's
"Fuck
awesome.
you."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the fireworks season is one of the ultimate FUs. There you go.
dude.
Look at that. That's
Yeah.
San Antonio. There it is.
They're
There's
gonna
our
show some other. There's another one here. Look at that, dude! Isn't that wild?
like, look at all those fireworks, man. It's crazy.
Everywhere.
Shit.
Everywhere. Who's Mac Jones?
Somebody from Ken 5 or KSAT 12.
Oh, that was his video. Yeah, it's it's just
Isn't that wild, man? Like,
crazy how many fireworks. Look at all of them.
I could have sworn one year, Dave Chappelle. I could have Charlie Murphy. I could have sworn like one year it looked like they had police drones like flying in a pattern. Yeah, they were like flying. I guess they were maybe they were looking to incriminate people, but they had like a pattern of drones flying with the same flight path, and they were going like all night long.
It's crazy. Yeah, I mean, they have fire trucks that'll go up and down the street saying fireworks are illegal. And my father-in-law, who's a native San Antonio, talks about, man, we waited for that truck and we tried to hit him with the fireworks. And that was the whole point. Like, we're launching at the fire trucks. I mean, it was just like they try to ban them all the time and they try to do stupid stuff all the time. It's like San Antonio is known as a party town, and we have a 3-week party called Fiesta. I mean, it's just like we're gonna have a good time. It's not gonna stop us. So, for sure.
Fiesta, is that one of those times you're allowed to sell fireworks or no?
No, so there's only three. There's July 4th, New Year's, Memorial Day, and Texas Independence. And Memorial Day and Texas Independence, you're only allowed to sell for those weekends. But it's not worth the. So the owners make you request it from the city because they don't want to mess with it, or from the county.
Mm.
And so it's not worth the. I mean, it's just not worth the effort. So, and nobody even knows you're open because nobody's used to that. And so it's like you have to retrain your. One of the big things about being an entrepreneur is your clients. Like, do you have to train your clients on what your product is? Then that's a hard sell. And so if you're trying to retrain somebody as to how or when to buy fireworks, it's not worth it. Just they come and buy them 4 days out of the year, July 3rd, July 4th, and then, December 30th and December 31st. Like you're going to make 90% of our money on those 4 days. So like not worth trying to waste my time going to the other days. But yeah. So that's a big part of our revenue stream is fireworks for sure.
Yeah.
for sure.
and it's very seems to be going pretty well, very lucrative.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and
So
and just the journey that you told us, is commendable, and you know, I have much respect for that. So,
yeah, we slept.
what's the name of your fireworks stand? Your shop?
We call it red carpet because when we first started, when you're outside, you're in a trailer, and so it can get muddy and dirty up front. And so we had this old red carpet that somebody donated to us, and so we rolled it out and we called it red carpet fireworks. But I'm probably not going to tell the company that we sell for. I don't know if they would like that,
Okay.
but
Oh, okay.
it's one of the. It's there's two big companies, Alamo Fireworks and Mr. W Fireworks. There's and then there's a whole bunch of little companies around San Antonio, but those are the two main guys, and they're both really really large. The one I work for, I love them. They give a lot of money back to the community, and they're really good people. So really
That's good.
unassuming country folk that just like found a niche and man just made millions off of it, and good for them. Like
All right.
took the risk, made it happen, and God's blessed them tremendously for it. So it's really cool.
Yep, blowing stuff up.
Blowing stuff up. Yeah,
What a
American
blessing
dream.
that is.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But good stuff.
I love those bombs bursting in air.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Anyway,
think they were talking about something else, but pretty close to fireworks.
yeah, they were. They always light the fireworks at that part of the anthem.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Rockets, red glare. But
Yeah.
yeah. So so about probably 10 years ago, when we were missionaries, we were looking for different streams of income, and so the way we broke it down was basically what's your goal to make a month. And so if you have $10,000 that you need to live on a month, or whatever that number is, $5,000. We broke it down into segments. And so what we said is you need so many segments to get there. So let's say your goal is $5,000 a month. Well, that means you have five $1,000 things. So if fireworks was bringing in $12,000 a year, that's one of those, right? So that now we only needed four more to get to where we did. So we bred and sold German Shepherds. I had 6 adult German Shepherds at one time. And so that brought in about $12,000 to $24,000 a year would come in just from selling dogs. And so that was the second one. And then I was working at the nonprofit. At that time, probably 10 years ago, we got a raise. And so that was bringing in, I think we were making $24,000 a year. So that was 2 more. And so that was kind of like how we broke down our budget was. And then I was working as a youth pastor, and that was the 5th one. But that's how we broke down our budget, was because we knew that our jobs weren't going to complete the budget. And so we had to figure out creative ways to bring in funds. And so it was fireworks, it was the German Shepherds, it was side jobs. That's how we started our general contracting business, was anybody that needed a deck built or anything like that was to bring in that extra money. And so that's kind of how we did our budget, built our budget was based off of this idea of needing those. And then the question became, well, what's the ultimate goal to get to a point where you become, independent from the man, more or less. And so our goal is 10 segments. If you figure there's $1,000 per segment, our goal is if our family is bringing in, that's $120,000 a year of untraditional income, then we don't have to worry about what the 9 to 5 is saying. We can take family trips when we want to. My kids allegedly miss a lot of school trips, and we'll just go. I'm like, hey, I don't. The education doesn't happen in the classroom. Education happens at home. And so if they can get them to read and write and do basic arithmetic, man. After that, I'm like, let's get them out
Just
here and
stop
let's go
there.
see the world. Yeah, man, like that's enough.
Stop there.
Especially somebody that's in the trades, like
Mhm.
I can see all these people, they go and dropping $200,000-$400,000 on a 4-year degree in liberal arts, and they're coming out and flipping burgers at McDonald's. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? It's because your degree was useless. You got a degree in nose picking and underwater basket weaving, and it was like, what are you doing? And
now you're $100,000 in debt with a
Crazy, man.
$600 and $900 payment every single month.
Yeah, and
And
it's just
hoping Biden would have bailed you out.
yeah, yeah, no responsibility on that side of it either, you know. And
So, what kind of contractor are you? Are
so
you just a general contractor,
yeah,
or
so we do commercial and residential remodeling. So I'm a
Mhm.
licensed general contractor with the city of San Antonio, and so run our crews and that uh, that's a one of the 10 obviously is running general contracting jobs. That right now is like if somebody would ask me, hey, what do you do for a living, I don't really go into my whole thing. It's too complicated what we do, and so usually I just say I'm a general contractor, and it usually stops the conversation dead in their tracks unless you
Mhm.
have 2 hours on a podcast and listen to everything that we got going on. It's not worth it. It's, you know, it's too convoluted with the real estate, fireworks, general contracting, um, pastoring, all the other stuff, and all the other forms of revenue that we have coming in. Rentals, we have an owner financed property that somebody gives us money in. That's one of the 10. And so just a lot of different avenues there. But the easiest thing is just to say I'm a general contractor, and that pretty much is like, oh, okay, cool. But
So does your business remodel the homes and then you rent them out, or do you sell them?
yeah, so great question. So within the business realm, we have a three-pronged approach to the general contracting business side. So you
Mm,
have your clients, which is obviously like, hey, come build me a deck, remodel my house. Commercial jobs, we do a lot of businesses like, hey, we need fresh coats of paint and that kind of stuff. So we call that the clients. Then you have your rehabs. Your rehabs are the ones that we've been doing this for full time on the general contracting side for 5 years now. And every year, God has blessed us with the opportunity. Um, some years we've done two, where somebody will call us and be like, "Hey, I got this house. I don't want a headache of selling it. Just come buy it from me." And then what we'll do is we'll rehab it and flip it and sell it. So that's a
mhm,
revenue that we look at the business clients, rehabs, and then the other one is rentals. So on the
mhm,
rentals, we're constantly like just today, I got 3 emails from wholesalers, and they call us. They, you know, once you get on these people's list, you don't get off of them.
mhm,
And then so they basically are doing all the hard work. They're finding the deal for us, and then you know they're making their money off of it. They're just selling paper, um,
mhm,
and so we'll buy those in certain areas of town. We'll look at it, and then we turn them into multifamily unit. Allegedly, turn them into multifamily. Don't tell the city.
mhm,
We turn them into multifamily units, and then we rent those out. And so right now we have 10 doors. I know
mm.
we have 10 doors currently, and then two owner financed. Something just took off.
Bruh.
So that's where. So what we do is we take our crew when we don't have a client project going on, then we just go and work on our own projects. And so how we were able to get ahead was because we're the ones doing the labor ourselves. The clients were paying for the rehabs, and then the rehabs were paying for the keepers, the rentals. And so
Mhm,
you know we'd make 6 figures on a rental or on a rehab. We take
mhm,
those 6 figures and we go buy a rental or a potential rental for 70, 80,000, put 20, 30, 40,000 into it. And now we're making that money monthly. Again, one of the 10 segments,
mhm.
money monthly to knock it off. And then gotten into a couple commercial properties. And that's where the money ultimately is, if I had to do it over, I would have gone straight into the commercial side. The money's way better on the commercial properties. But
And that's for businesses, right? Like you just buy office space and people lease it out.
yeah, yeah. So office space, don't do office space. If you're looking to get into the game right now, due to the work from home that happened, office space right now, there's a lot
Mm,
of like people hurting that we're doing office space stuff. Now, if you can get creative with it,
mhm,
if you can get into some really cool ideas. A lot of people down here in San Antonio started doing, which was the idea of kind of office sharing. So versus having to rent out a whole floor of an office building, they're like, hey, you can just rent out one office, run your little, if you need a man cave or whatever, that, you know,
mhm,
no questions asked. But then you have all the common spaces available to you once a month, like the meeting rooms. So a lot of small businesses, like entrepreneur guys, are like, well, I'm going to go rent an office, and Geek Space, or what was the name of that place? That Geek Space? No, somebody had that tried to do it nationally and they went bankrupt like during COVID. I don't remember. I don't remember the name of
It's
that
not
company.
funny, but Think Geek or
What was it? It was something
Geek
where
Squad.
basically, I don't remember. Where basically was this idea we're going to get a whole bunch of people together and they're going to be able to think together and entrepreneurs together and help form these spaces of
Just
everybody.
like a think tank,
Yeah,
basically.
and it worked for a long time because what they would do is, if you think about it, it's pretty genius. You don't have any actual space brick and mortar. So what you do is you go in and somebody's got a 60,000 square foot office building and you lease it. You say, hey, we're going
Mm-hmm.
to sign a lease for 5 years on this. And then I'm going to take that and I'm going to divvy out the spaces and sublease it out. And so
Mm-hmm.
you find a good deal and then you're subleasing out those spaces and you're killing it because you didn't put a down payment on a building. You didn't have to buy the real estate on it. And you're just leasing off of your sublease. Well, it's all good and dandy until nobody can work and everybody has to stay home and nobody
Yeah.
wants space. And then it dried up really quick during COVID. And I think it might start coming back here in the next couple of years. But
Mm-hmm.
office space leases are usually 5 to 10 year leases. And so right now we're seeing all the people that signed leases in 2019, right before COVID started. Well, their leases are coming up and they're not renewing them. So there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
office space right now that's coming up available. Um, because everybody realized, hey, we can work from home. If you're a company of 200 people and you were paying 20 grand a month for an office space, but you realize everybody could work from home and provide their own office space, you don't need AC, you don't have to provide
Mm-hmm.
coffee, you don't have electricity, you don't have the space, you don't have to, you're not losing productivity of everybody talking in the break room. And so the small companies of, let's say, 200 or less, well, they don't need those 50 offices they had anymore. And so those are all coming back on the market, or they went bankrupt, one or the other. But uh,
Mm-hmm.
so office space is a little bit tricky. Where you want to get into, if you're getting into the commercial side, is anything C3. So C3 is a zoning number. And WeWork, thank you, whoever just put that up there. I don't know who that was. Yes, that was the name of the company. Who did that? It's- who's J.K. Netflix? I don't know who that
you
is.
know,
Anyway,
you
that
know
was the
what?
name of
It's
the company.
knowing that, just looking at that name, it's probably Pastor Frank.
Nice. Yeah, that was the name of the company that went bankrupt. A genius business model until you get a pandemic, and then anyway. But so
You said
uh,
C3.
Oh, C3, because C3, so what C3 can do is it is the ability to operate any type of industry out of it. So you can operate a gas station to anything. It has the most freedom to use it. You can sell alcohol off of it as long as it's got the NA at the end of it. And so if you find cheap C3 space, that's the thing to buy. We own 3 of them right now, and you can use them for whatever you want. There's no limitations. The city can't touch you on anything on them, as long as you got what you need. But one of the hard things to do is to take a property and rezone it. That's a very
Mm-hmm.
difficult thing to do within any city, and you'll see them all the time. Like you'll see little signs up that say, "Hey, this is going up for rezoning," and unless you've got bankroll to like a large developer to go in and buy everybody off city council and move it through, it's pretty much you're going to spend 6 months to a year to 18 months to try to get that thing rezoned, and it can be tough. And so, but if you find the C3, you have the freedom to sell cars out of it. You can have a mechanic shop out of it. You can have a gas station out of it. One of ours right now has a CrossFit gym in it. And one of them has warehouse space in it. One of them is a storage unit. And so like C3 just has the ability to do whatever you want with it. And then uh, all the big guys, anybody else that's coming in eventually to buy you out, uh, a gas station. Let's say they want a gas station. We have a couple sweet corner lots. Well, if somebody's coming in, we're the only C3 in the area for 5 blocks around there. Who are they going to come offer it to? They're going to come buy ours. And so then you got them by the balls because you already got the C3 listing on it. And so um, that's what we did, and we've kind of stumbled upon it by accident, and God has blessed it tremendously with the commercial properties. Residential, we've done really well too. Don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Commercial, you have a lot more power as the landlord. If
Mm-hmm.
somebody's squatting on your property as a residential, it's really hard to kick people out of their homes, where you can kick a business out at the drop of a hat. And so just a lot more is in your favor as a commercial landlord versus a residential.
Residential.
Yeah.
So, what does C3 stand for?
Commercial zone 3. So
Uh,
basically, it just means the C is commercial, and then you
mm,
can have commercial 1, commercial 2, and commercial 3. So commercial 3 is where you can get into the chemical storages, and you can get into all that stuff that they can bury gas tanks and all that kind of stuff.
mhm,
So C1, you can't do that. And then there's another one called industrial, which is
mm,
I1, I2, I3. And there's a little bit different restrictions on that. Like you can't sell cars out of it, but you could have an auto shop. It's all the legalese behind it.
mm.
Honestly, anything C1, C2, C3 is good. C3 is going to be the best. And then, like I said, you can get I think it's NA. I can't remember, but then you have the right to sell alcohol on it. And
And
that's the one where you make the bank is if you can get to the point where you're selling alcohol. The ones, unfortunately, our C3s, we can't, we're too close to schools. And so
Mm.
we can't sell. I mean, not that I'm running a bar out of it, the back of it anyway. But
if you could, would you?
yeah, well, uh, I mean, I always tell my goal. I tell this to a lot of people is tell it to my wife all the time. My goal is to get to a point. If we get to a point where we get those 10 revenues and it's not taking a lot of our time, like you just we call it mailbox money,
Mhm.
where
Mm.
renters and fireworks and some of that stuff is just you open up your mailbox and there's checks in it from people that owe you money, right? So we call it mailbox money. If that gets to a point where we get to our goals on that, I always tell my wife, I'm gonna go like serve ice cream to kids, like for $8 an hour, right?
Mhm.
And just enjoy life, hang out,
Mm.
do something. The manager's gonna come up to me like, go clean the bathroom. I'm be like, F you. I don't clean bathrooms. You kidding me? I scoop ice cream and hand it out to kids, man. Get out of here. And I mean, that's just the dream. Travel and just build relationships and be an unassuming guy who just doing whatever doors God opens up and try to bring him the most glory ultimately. So if that's serving ice cream to kids, man, I don't have any problem with that.
That's
Um,
what's up, man.
but
So
Wow.
if somebody was trying to start in real estate right now, how what's your advice and like what steps should you take to start off in real estate?
yeah, well, this is an interesting guy. I just started this book probably 2 weeks ago.
Mm,
Where's my camera? Becoming Your Own Banker by
Mhm.
Nelson Nash. And so, one of the things that you got to understand about the real estate industry is there's a ton of different models. And when you look at the different models of how to build wealth when it comes to real estate, nobody holds all the truth, right? And so you're going to take a piece from this guy and a piece from this guy and a piece from this guy and a piece from this guy, and you're going to kind of merge those together and to make it into a system that works for you based on where you are. And so if you're a millionaire, your system of starting up is going to be different than how I had to start up,
yeah.
because you've already got daddy's backing. Go buy stuff, right? Like that's the answer. Um, Honestly, like just go buy something. Well, if you don't have that ability to go and leverage daddy's checkbook, how do you do it? Well, you got to build wealth on your own. And so how we did it, that's all I can tell you is how we did it. Is we went to people who believed in us and we said, hey, we need angel investors. And we got families and friends together. So when I say we, me and my business partner, there's
Mm,
another guy who I do business with, and we're 50-50 in all of our businesses. Honestly, that I should have said that. That's the first step. Find yourself somebody who is the opposite of you in personality and in skill set. So I am not administratively gifted. I don't hold people accountable. Like I'm the fun loving kind of like it's okay if you pay me whatever. Like I don't like conflict. I just want to hang out. Right? Let's get a beer and hang out. My business partner is not. He is like, no, you owe me money. I'm gonna get my money from you. And so you got
mm,
to find somebody he's administratively more. So he takes care of all the leases. I take care of all the repairs. He's not gifted in the construction side, but he's very gifted in the communication side. So he deals a lot. He speaks Spanish, so he deals a lot with the subcontractors, negotiating prices, making
mm,
sure insurances are covered, and all that kind of stuff. I'm the dreamer. He's the analytics. And so
mm,
you got to have the person in that relationship who can say, "Hey, we can go buy this for $10, and he's looking at the bank account. And he's like, "We're at negative $10," and I'm like, "Bro, we can buy it. Trust me, we got this. Don't worry about it." So you got to have the dreamer and the analytic person. It's like a marriage, right? Same thing in marriage. So you got to have those different people. So first thing I would say is find a business partner that you can do this with, because you're going to double everything. You're going to double your network of people that you know. You're going to double your network of clients that you know. You're going to double your network of potential money. When you go to the bank and you ask for your first loan, you're doubling your backing because it's looking at both of your set of financials, not just one person's. And so
Mm.
by coming into business together, you're actually with that partner. Now you have to trust. You got to trust them because they can screw you really good if you're not careful. But um, and then we had to train people. So you had to train your banker. We had to sit, and we have followed our banker to 3 different banks now. He's moved to different banks, and we follow him because we know when we call him, not the bank. When we call him, he makes
Mm.
it happen. He gets money into our accounts right away because he knows us. So it's all about relationships. Your realtor, we had to negotiate with them. So most realtors sell at 3% and buy at 3%. Our realtor sells and buys at 1.5%. And so when you're dealing with large quantities of sales, you're selling at $2 million worth of product a year, and 1.5% of 2 million, that's money. And
Mm.
so you've got to be able to negotiate that rate down to a point where it makes sense. Now, the only way that they'll do that is if they're the broker. An average realtor unit agent is not the broker, so they have to pay up a fee, and then
Mm.
they have to pay down a fee. But if you
Mm.
can find the broker, which we found, um, they can negotiate their own rates because they're not paying up and down. They are the broker, and so they don't need a ton of money. They're happy with their 1.5% because they know the volume that you're going to do. You're going to make up for what is there. And so,
So the so quick question. The broker is basically like the realtor and the broker in
yeah,
one.
yeah, so every realtor
Okay.
works for a brokerage. So Keller
Mm.
Williams, Phyllis Browning, those guys are the brokerage. They're the guy, Remax. I don't know who you guys got around wherever you are.
Mm.
They're the brokerage. So they actually hold the insurances, and the realtors work for the brokerage. So when a realtor sells a house to you and they're saying, hey, our commission is 3%, anywhere from a percent to a percent and a half or a half percent, depending what brokerage they work for, goes up to the brokerage,
Mm.
not to them. And so they can't negotiate up to a certain point because then they're not making any money. So they're not
Mm.
going to negotiate you down on what they're selling for because they got to pay it off. And then they have their time and energy into it, and they have to do it too. So, but we had to sit there. We interviewed 3 or 4 different realtors that we knew until we found somebody that was willing to work with us. And trust me, they're happy they did because they're making a lot more money now uh,
Mm.
off of our sales. Nobody else would lower. Well, we think we're worth the 3%. I'm not saying you're not worth the 3%, but I'm talking volume here. So you're gonna sell. You go and do your 3% with a normal client, and and within that, they're gonna sell one house over 5 years.
Mm.
I can sell 5 houses in 1 year with you, and yeah, 1%, 1.5% is gonna make you a lot more money than 3% with the other client. So you
Mm.
got to change people's perspectives, and you got to talk such a way that you're selling yourself to them with your investors. We made pitch books. We had to so we had to talk to our banker and tell him, hey, this is what we're doing, this is the strategy, you got to understand the strategy. Our title company, we have a person that does titling for less than they do for other people because again, we're doing volume with them. And every deal like that, you're saving a couple percent here and there. And then you just got to find the deal. You make all of your money on the purchase price. Almost all of our stuff is because we go in and we lowball. We say, hey, you have this listed on MLS, on Zillow. Search Zillow. You can search Zillow for sale by owner. You can search Zillow by days listed. Get on Zillow, look for anything that's been listed for more than 3 months. It's over 90 days and it's listed. That means it's overpriced, and potentially the owner might be ready to move on it because they're sick of everybody that's walked through the doors. So
Mm.
that's all wholesalers do. Wholesalers, when they get that piece of paper, they get that contract, it's because they've called 100 people and they
Mm.
finally got one. Wholesaler will get it under contract for $10, and then they'll
Mm.
sell it to you. They'll sell just the contract for $10.50. When they make their 50 cents, you get the contract and you go to closing. Now you have to have cash on a wholesale, so it makes it a little difficult. But
So can you explain wholesaling?
Yeah. So wholesaling is a swindler's game, and they are used car salesmen of the real estate industry, man. They are, whew, they are. If any of you guys are watching, I love you
I
guys.
like
You guys
that.
have given me some good deals, but you guys, they can talk, man. So wholesaler is if you've ever gotten a phone call from a person that says, do you own the property on, Jack and Jill Street? And you're like, yes, I do. And they're like, would you entertain an offer on it? And so then what you have to do is you have to tell them, no, back off, right? That's a
Mm,
wholesaler. So what they're doing is they'll build a relationship with you, and then they'll get you to sign a contract under, they'll say, hey, listen, value of your home right now is $150,000. But in order to get to that 150,000, you'd probably have to spend 10 to 15,000 in repairs to paint it, make it look nice to get that number. And then you have to pay your realtor fees. So really, you're going to walk out of this house with 80, 90,000. Well, I'll tell you what, we can cut all that garbage out. I'll buy it as is. I'll get it under contract. You win, I win. Let's sell it for 85 to me. And the seller's like, okay, fine. So they sign a contract for 85,000. But what they often don't know, this is where used car salesman pitch, is a wholesaler when he sends that contract over to you, he'll say his name, wholesaler's name, or entities. And when you see or entities, what they're saying is they have the right to take that title, that contract, and sell it to somebody else. So they have you under contract for 85,000. I've had that happen multiple times where I'm walking that property with the wholesaler. The seller will walk in the door and be like, "Who are you guys?" And it's like, "Well, we're the guys that are going to buy it off of this
right.
for money that you're not going to get." And it's awesome. Just look at the wholesaler and say, "Good luck with this." Basically, they got you under contract for 85,000, and they're selling it to me for 95,000. And sometimes those wholesalers will be selling it for twice as much as they got it under contract for, because they have the network of guys like me
Mhm.
called an end game buyer, where I'm going to buy it on an end game. And uh, and so wholesalers, they're great for us, terrible for the sellers.
Mhm.
It's a big scam in our country, and I don't have any idea how it's legal, because they're not even selling a product; they're selling a signature. It shouldn't be legal, honestly, but it is. As is a lot of things in this country, I don't really understand. But
So
yeah,
so let's say like the wholesaler has the selling owner
yeah,
under contract, but he can't sell the contract.
yep, happens all the time. So seller puts down something called option period money, which usually buys them 10 days to get it under contract, and that's maybe like $100. The other thing right after that is called earnest money. So if you're going to buy your future home, you're going to put down something called option period money. In that option period, you're going to get the home inspected. You're going to
Mm,
make sure that the roof isn't caving in. You're going to get it surveyed. You're going to make sure that there's no infringement. Somebody else, that the property is where it says it is. All these kind of things happen during the option period. Typically 10 days, 6 to 10 days. Then the earnest money kicks in. Well, what these guys do, they're not dumb, right? So what they'll tell the seller is they say, "Hey, we'll give you option period money of $100, and we'll give you earnest period money of $100." Well, then they put it under contract for 45 days or 90 days. They'll put it under contract for. That gives them 45 days to 90 days to try to offload this house and
mm,
only risking $200.
mm.
So when they don't offload it and they don't sell it, they go back to the seller and say, "Hey, today's closing day. We ain't got the money. Sorry." And the seller's out all of that time and all of that energy, and the wholesaler walks away and having lost
Two
$200.
hundred bucks.
So that's why it's a complete scam for the seller. And again, that's why I'm not sure how it's legal. There is some decent wholesalers who will actually purchase the home and put it underneath their name, and then they'll move and then they'll sell it off like that. They're more investor real estate guys versus a wholesaler. Wholesaler is a dirty word, man, in the real estate game, in my mind. But again, it's like the used car salesman. So
Yeah, the first time I heard about it, I was like, how? I'm like, this is too good to be true. But you know what I mean?
yeah, no, it's crazy that it can happen, and it works for some people. And you know, there's decent people out there that make sure they're doing it right and they treat people fair. They're just There's a good used car salesman out there. They do exist, but it's few and far between.
Yeah,
Yeah, same,
because
same.
I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah, got it on my shelf for
Yeah,
sure.
and when he said that in his contracts, he put down that um, the contract could get voided if his partner would say no,
Yep.
and he said his partner was his cat.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I mean, that's why it's important to have a good real estate agent, is they'll catch stupid. We just had one come through. We're selling a property. Well, we're 1031ing, exchanging a property right now, and uh, the one that we're selling, the buyer put in a little caveat that said, since we don't have the leases yet, then we can void this contract. And our realtor's like, don't sign this. Submit the leases really quick. And so we submitted the leases because they're just looking for an out. And if they can get an out, so you got to cover all your bases. And people are scandalous, and everybody's looking to get you. So for sure.
Dude. I know that TikTok is going to absolutely love this this like horde of valuable information that you have shared. It's like,
Awesome.
We're just gonna cut the three of
telling
us
you.
out of it because as
Yeah.
soon as TikTok sees our face, it's like,
we have we have right now 47 people watching on X. So shout out
Oh,
to you
that's
guys.
cool. Appreciate it.
Sticking around.
But you asked me, you did ask, you brought up Rich Dad Poor Dad. He's a great guy, man. He lives on an edge. So his model, I was talking about the different models of financing that you can use. Dave Ramsey, I would say he's great, but he's conservative when it comes to money. So I tell people, do the first 3 baby steps of Dave Ramsey, and then change, no, and then kind of venture off on your own a little bit. He's a little too conservative for me. I'm not as scared as debt, but I'm not Rich Dad Poor Dad. I mean, that guy leverages debt to the max, and I'm like, hey, like it worked for him, and um, and good for him. But again, I'm looking for my 10 things, and if one of those goes away, that hurts big, and so I don't want to risk it. I want to own it, and so debt is okay. Debt is a tool, but I tell my kids this all the time. There's a difference between toys, and there's a difference between toys and tools. Toys can't hurt you. Tools can kill you. So be careful when they're using my drills. I'm like, hey, that's a tool, not a toy. You can play with it, and you need to learn how to use it, and it'll enhance your life incredibly. But it can also kill you in a second. It's a gun, right? Same thing. Gun is a tool and not a toy, and so you just got to be careful with those things. But yeah, so the general contracting, the real estate holdings, that's another avenue of what we do with the fireworks there as well.
So you mentioned leveraging. Can you explain that?
Yeah. So leveraging is one of those things where it usually comes in with debt. And so let's say I have $10 of liquid capital, which means I have $10 in my bank account. I can go buy a house for $10. Or I can take that $10 and I can multiply it by 5, which would be $50. And I have $50 of buying power with debt at a bank. So a bank is going to make you put 20%, 20 to 30% down on an investment property. And so that $10 to the bank can get you $50. You can leverage that $10 with a bank to go get $50 to go buy 5 houses at $10. So now I've taken my $10. I was going to go buy one house for $10, and now I'm going to take that $10 and go buy 5 houses at $10. But I've leveraged my debt, so now I'm paying interest on those. That's where this guy, becoming your own banker, which I'm not getting paid. So if you buy his book, I don't get any money. And I don't necessarily agree with everything he says, but he's not wrong. But so let's say you're paying the bank 8%, which is the going interest rate right now for a commercial loan. You can get a residential loan right now, maybe for 6.5, prime plus 1.5. So let's say you're doing that and you're leveraging it. Well, that means your rate of return on your investment has to be greater than 8%. Otherwise, you're losing money. Well, any good investor is going to tell you you need at least 7% return on your money to at least make it worthwhile, right? Because the stock market's usually making you between 10 and 12, and annuities are making you like 2. So if you can make 7%, you're a good investor. Well, that means if you're taking 8% to the bank plus your 7, you need to be making 15% return on that investment. That's hard. That is really hard to do. So that's why it's dangerous when when you're leveraging yourself and you become leveraged to the max, and you're bringing in, so people, investors all the time tell us this, and we just let them talk because they want to talk a big game. They're like, we have an investment portfolio that is $5 million of value. And the first question out of my mouth to them is, what's your equity? Because equity is debt, value of your property minus the
Mhm.
debt. So even though they're saying market value, I have $5 million, what's your equity? And they're like, well, we have it all
Two
leveraged
dollars.
now. Yeah, so they're at like 4 million in debt. So let's say they're bringing in $100,000 a month, and you're like, whoa, you're making 100,000. Yeah, the bank's taking 90,000 to pay those
Mhm.
loans, and so they are leveraging $5 million to make 10 grand. That's stupid. That's
Yeah,
bad.
that.
It's bad math.
Mhm.
Now, what some people would say is that's great math. You're making 10% money on debt that's not yours. Yeah, but it's not worth the stress. It's not worth the headache. I'm a lazy contractor. I tell people that all the time. I don't want to work hard, and you're working hard just to cover debt.
Okay. Yeah, because I read somewhere where Robert Kiyosaki, the
Yeah,
rich dad poor dad guy, he's a billionaire but just in debt. And then the same thing with Grant Cardone.
yeah, yeah. So these guys aren't dumb. They're smart. I just
Yeah, they are.
Here's the thing is they got some serious stress levels. I'm doing all of this to spend time with my kids, not not to make money. I don't need money, doesn't go with me anywhere. Money does nothing for me. I want to glorify God with my life. So if I can get to a point where I am making my 10 segments of money, and I'm able to travel the world, I'm able to give to my church, I'm able to help my neighbors, I'm able to help those around me, I'm able to give back to my community in a small, insignificant ways that I believe that God has called me to do to glorify Him, then I don't need millions. Now, if God blesses me with millions, which blesses you, the faithful, with few, then He'll bless you with much. Then I'm all for it. I already know how to segment my life. I know how to live on a budget. Um, we don't need more than what we got, and so I'm not looking for the new cars. I drive a 1996 F-250 piece of trash. I have a 2006 Subaru that is beat up and trash. My wife drives a nicer vehicle, but we paid cash for it.
Mhm.
So you've got to learn to live within your means. And the
Mhm.
American dream is not debt. That is the American problem right now, is debt.
Mhm.
It's
Hmm.
killing this country, and nobody seems to care because you're writing it off for the next generation. Forget climate change. Debt. Debt is going to kill this country faster.
Yeah.
Maybe that's
What do
why
they
you
say?
should sponsor us.
Yeah. Hey, when I get to my 10, man, I'll write you a check. I'll write you a check. You guys, hey, in all seriousness, so you guys need to start a nonprofit. That's something else. We haven't got into my nonprofit stuff yet, but start a nonprofit, get grants, man. That's a whole nother avenue of revenue.
That does that go through USAID? Because we could just ask for millions of dollars for like random
What
things.
are you, the Clintons?
Apparently,
You can just get $1 million from USA real quick. What's going on here?
dude, it's crazy what they've gotten away with.
Oh my
Like
god!
it's crazy.
But
Maybe we should have
here's
got a PPP loan.
yeah, no, dude. I had one of the first things when we started our business was like, "Hey, what year did you start?" We had a guy come up to us, and I was like, 2020. He's like, "Oh, you don't qualify for those PPP loans." I was like, "Man, dude, all those small business guys, the Lakers got a friggin' loan from the government for the PPP."
Wow.
Mhm.
What is that? Post pandemic something
I
or?
don't know what it was. It was those grants that the government was issuing that now we're all paying for because of inflation and tariffs. You can't print
Mhm.
And people
$50
catching
trillion
felonies.
and pour it into and not have any problems. Like, people are so
Yeah,
stupid, dude.
yeah.
I,
Right.
I shouldn't say that. God has gifted each person differently, but there's a lot of stupid people.
It's what they choose to do with it. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
man, dude, wake up, right? Wake up. But
People are always trying to get over.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Everything I
Greed.
just said, yeah, agreed. And they're looking for the easy shortcut.
Mhm.
So, they're looking for, well, I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to live. Dave Ramsey says, I don't want to live on rice and beans. I want the nice car. Well, then you have the nice car payment. That's fine. Like, that's not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong for doing that, but don't sit there and say, and don't get jealous or mad at me for the life I'm living because I have driven pieces of crap cars my whole life. I live in San Antonio, Texas, didn't have AC for 2 years in my vehicle. Like, don't get mad at me now that the investments that I've made with my time and my sacrifices for my family are now starting to pay off, and act like,
Mhm.
oh, you just whatever. No, I slept in my car at a fireworks stand so I can make money at the fireworks stand.
You
I
put in work.
I put in the work. You want to put in the work? That's the American dream. You want to put in the work? You can make your living still, and that's why people are still trying to get here, is because it's not dead, but they want you to believe it's dead.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
want you to, and they're making you a slave to debt. They're making you a slave to their handouts. They're making you a slave to everything else that they're trying to take from you, and ultimately, obviously, without Jesus, it don't matter. But it's all for naught anyway. But
Yeah, and then you work for a company that just gives you a salary just enough to keep you happy.
Yeah.
yeah, don't get me. Well, I'm an entrepreneur, so don't get me started on that. That drives me.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Now, I'll say this, and this is part of Dave Ramsey's talks is, hey, if for 2 years, my business partner, I went full time in our business in 2020. He stayed working as a public school teacher for 3 more years. So there's this story. I don't know if it's true, but it's a fantastic story. It's the ultimate story about what it means to have a partner in life. You guys ever seen the praying hands? Artwork where the guy is just uh, a set of hands. That's all it is. And the
Yeah.
story behind it is, I don't know if it's true. This is just what was told to me. So if it's not true, don't hate me for it. But there was two artists, and they weren't able to make it. And so what happened? The first artist said, "Hey, I will work for 5 years to pay your way through school until you make it famous. And then when you make it famous, we'll use your money from, and then I'll go to art school, and then I'll start that process." So the first guy works his 5 years, hard labor, and gets his friend through art school. And when he goes to pick up his paintbrush after 5 years, man, I might start crying. When he goes to pick up his paintbrush after 5 years, his hands are so beat up that he can't even hold the paintbrush that he used to want to do. And so
Mm.
he gets on his hands and knees and he starts to pray. And the painting is the artist friend painting his praying hands of the friend who worked hard and sacrificed everything so that he could get where he's at. And so that's what we did in our partnership. My business partner kept working at the schools so that we could leverage his salary to go get some loans. And I worked. I had saved up. We had saved up some money, and for the first 3 years of the business, that's what we lived on. And all my bank accounts, all my savings accounts, everything went to zero until we were able to start taking some money from the business. We're still not. My workers make more money than I do currently,
Mm.
and it's just because we're still living on rice and beans. And I can tell you this: we're right at the cusp. You interview me in 6 months, and we're going to be in a different ballgame. God's getting ready to do some really cool stuff.
Oh yeah.
God
That's
is
awesome,
good.
man.
We are. Yep. We're gonna put that date in stone. We'll, we'll,
There
we'll
you
talk about we'll talk about it after we go off air. But
Yeah, yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, we only got through two things. We only got through fireworks and the real estate stuff. We didn't get into anything else.
Do you do
what else
anything
going?
else like hunting or fishing or?
Yeah, yeah. So was a big hunter growing up. I live in the heart of San Antonio. I have a little ranch. Everybody that comes over to my house is like, "Is this legal?" And I tell them, "Heck no, it's legal." I got a goat, I got chickens, ducks, a rabbit, and I'm like right in the middle of the city. And everybody's like, we have a really pretty good sized piece of property. We got a little, like an acre and a half. And I told people I was born and raised on 40 acres up north, hunting, fishing. We go to the coast. My business partner has a little coast house. So we go fishing a lot on the coast, catch sheephead. Sheephead are really hot right now out on
I
Port
hear they're
Aransas.
good.
Oh, delicious. I hate fishing though. I'm not a fisher. I'm a hunter. I
Mhm.
like shooting stuff. It feels a little more manly. But yeah, so in that aspect, yeah, I mean that's kind of the relaxation side. We take the guys out for the business. We go fishing because we have the beach house available to us now, and so do quite a
Ooh,
few fishing trips. And yeah, we do quite a few fishing trips out there with the guys. Got a couple of investors of ours who have some sizable ranches, and so we go out there. I actually just got invited. Man, I should have done it, but it was on a weekend. I couldn't do it. Got invited out to a whitetail deer hunt out on one of these leases that is super famous, and the average, like one person, it costs like $4,000 to go. And
Damn.
the guy that heads it up is a good friend of mine, and he invited us. There's a client of ours on the construction site. He's like, "Hey, just come out for free on this one." And I'm like, dude, I don't remember what it was, but I couldn't go. I was pretty bummed. But
Are you guaranteed a trophy buck?
yeah, I mean, yeah, those. So the leases, the deer leases in Texas are incredible if you do some research. Another fun one, which I haven't done yet, and I set a trip up for my brother. He's a financial advisor, and he wanted to bring some of his clients down. But you can hog hunt from a helicopter if you've ever seen it. That's a
Yeah,
big
Yeah.
yeah.
And dude, there's a couple of them where they hook up some fully automatics and they're wiping out whole herds of these things. Stinking pest and nuisance, but
Yeah.
dude, that's a dream right there.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, machine gunning up a helicopter with your hogs, bro. Come on.
I smell another revenue stream in your future.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah, for
Hey,
sure.
man.
Hey, once I buy my ranch, I'll let you know.
I was about to say, all you need is 2 pigs, and like 8 months, you'll have a herd.
Mhm.
Those things are crazy, man.
Yeah, man.
They're like rabbits,
They
man.
do damage, man.
Yeah,
They
how
damage.
many litters can they give? Can a female give a year? It's
I
like
don't
3 or 4, right?
That's a great question, but there can be 8 to 10 little piglets in one of those litters. I don't even know.
Yeah,
how
exactly.
They come in, they
Exactly.
literally they destroy properties down here. It's hunting season all year long for them. There's no restrictions on them. You can come in and hunt them all. Now they're not great eating. If you get a younger one, it can be decent eating.
Like a
But
suckling pig.
again,
Like a suckling pig, you know.
yeah, exactly. But other than that, they're not great eating. It depends how you cook them. If you cook them right, it's good. But I guess that's true. That's true of anything, right? If you cook it,
Yeah,
cook it right, it's good.
If you cook it good, it tastes good.
Just put it on
Put enough ranch on it, it'll taste good.
just smoke it with some mosquito or hickory egg, you know.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah,
Yeah, so-
my avidness is more sports than the outside stuff. But I do enjoy it outside. I mean, I was born and raised doing snowmobiling, ice fishing, all that kind of stuff, and so I do enjoy it. But down here, there's not a whole lot of. I live in the city, so there's not a whole lot of that. I have my duck in my boat. But yeah, there's definitely no ice fishing.
They don't know nothing about ice fishing or snowmobiling down here.
Not at
Tell you
all.
what, when it snows, the whole state shuts down. So
Shoot, when it rains, the whole state shuts down. Any
Yeah,
form of
we had
precipitation.
a huge storm coming in this whole week. It's been like really rainy and yeah, it's just been a mess, man. Just constant rain for like the last 48 hours or so.
Yeah, which
At least
means
it's no
constant
tornado,
car
man.
accidents.
You know? At least it's not a
And that's not
tornado,
a what?
at least it's not a tornado.
That's true. Yeah.
True.
Yeah, you
This is
guys
not
are
a
right
common
in
occurrence.
Tornado Alley, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
They're close
I don't
enough.
know.
Shit.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
I mean, I've been down here. That's happened for sure. For sure. There's been
I mean,
2 good ones.
we had tornadoes in Maryland, which I didn't even know were a thing until
Oh.
like 10 years ago.
I was fishing up at that one pond when the one
Yeah,
touchdown.
dude. Yeah, dude. Knocked every single pole light down.
Mhm.
We didn't have
Power
power
line.
for 3 days. Yeah, we didn't have power at my house for 3 days. We're like, what the heck?
Right?
And the crazy part was I was in Ohio for training with my company, and my wife is calling me freaking out, and then her phone cuts out. I was like, oh my God, what the heck just happened? And then like 45 minutes later, she calls. I get a text message from her saying the power, the power's out. If it sounded like the tree was hitting the house. I was like, what the heck is going on? And then she couldn't leave because there was a tree down on every single road to get out of our house. So she was just stuck.
Dang.
Yep.
Brutal.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So I gotta ask. I try to remember to ask this every time, but Sasquatch, is he out there? What do you think?
I've no longer call them conspiracy theorists. I call them truth seekers now because as we're finding out with a lot of what's coming out with JFK and 9/11 and all that stuff, the truth was more there than the conspiracy theorists are the ones who were believing the government almost. I don't think Sasquatch.
Good
is out
point.
there.
Yeah.
I don't think Sasquatch. That's one where I can entertain the. 100% didn't land on the moon.
We did not.
Did not. No, not a chance. Not a chance.
Fake it till
Wait a
you make
minute.
it.
No,
So
the best part about that is they lost the technology on
yeah,
how to
I
do
mean, are
it.
you kidding me?
You know what I mean?
1960 little tin bag made it up there. Get out of
Yeah.
here. You got
But
Buzz
now
Aldrin.
we can.
Yeah, go listen to some of Buzz's interviews. He literally says, because we didn't go, that's why. And you're like,
Dude, I'm surprised with all those interviews and like speaking engagements he's doing. I'm surprised that the government's still letting him walk around.
because at this point they've won. They don't even care. They don't even care if they tell you that the driver shot JFK. It doesn't even matter anymore. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
just
just like just think about that for a second. Your government it assassinated its own president. Like think about
Yeah.
that for a second.
Yep.
crazy.
Nobody cares.
Nobody cares anymore. Yeah, I mean it was too long ago. It's
Yeah.
like 9/11 still a little touchy for people, but even then you go and look at the demo blast coming out of it, Building 7. I mean,
Hmm.
come on. Like the security agent, the guys that own the security company was Bush's brother, and all of a sudden they get pulled off 3 months before the trade centers, and all of a sudden all these trucks are coming in, and
Mhm.
it's just like, come on, you guys, like wake up, sheep.
Did you hear? Did you hear the one about the BBC broadcast that said that the Building 7 had already fell before it actually, like 30 minutes before it fell?
I mean, just look at the demolition structure. Like they're demos. Like they go straight down. Here's the thing:
Hmm.
did the government do it? No. Did they allow it? 100%. Were they involved in it? 100%.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. You can come at me and say I'm wrong, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that's fine. But flat Earth theorists, I like those ones. Those ones are a little bit. I'm not sold on those ones yet.
Yeah.
I don't think Sasquatch. I mean, was he real? Maybe at one time back in the with dinosaurs. Was there weird humanoid apes? I don't know. Maybe.
You remember the fallen angels? They procreated with animals too.
Oh, bro, don't get me started on those things, man. Yeah, those are great. Have you guys seen the one about plateaus that are old trees, petrified trees?
Oh
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
man.
yeah.
Those are really cool. So we were driving through West Texas and California and stuff, and New Mexico over spring break. And you look out there and you look at those plateaus, man. You can't
Hmm.
tell me those weren't trees, man. It's crazy. Anyway, there's some really good stuff out there for
Yeah,
sure.
And
the
don't
one of the theories I heard about those was
Yeah,
people.
there you go.
Yeah, pe-
That's a stump, bro. How do you tell me it's not a stump?
like people cut them, so or God sent angels down to cut those trees, so during the flood they didn't have anywhere to like avoid the floodwaters.
Yeah, is it Isaiah somewhere where it says he sent them down to cut down the trees? There's a Bible verse that mentions it. I can't remember what it
Hmm.
is. I think it's in Isaiah. I mean, you could be it could be one of those things where just referencing something random, but still, it's man, truth seekers again, not
Yeah, no.
conspiracy theorists, truth seekers. So
They're
for sure,
fun, man.
you guys are gonna make my crazy come out. So I gotta kind of stuff
oh
that in some of my roles as a pastor in a small church. I gotta make sure my crazy doesn't come out.
We'll do it off air. We'll do it off
man.
air. Because that's the fun stuff, man.
Allegedly,
Yeah, allegedly.
So
for
okay,
sure.
Isaiah chapter 10,
There you go.
verse 33, 34.
What's it say?
It says, "See the Lord Almighty, will lop off the boughs with great power. The lofty trees will be felled, the
There you go.
tall ones will be brought low. He will cut down the forest thickets with an axe. Lebanon will fall before the mighty one."
There you go. Yeah, that's the verse that they used as one of the verses that he cut him down.
Mm.
But
This is just interesting though. Like I mean, I don't know what the purpose was. Was it because of the flood? Is that what you said?
No, so
They
what they
were.
say is that he sent down the angels to cut all the big trees down so people didn't have anywhere to take refuge and avoid the floodwaters. Because what they're saying is those trees were like humongous, like taller than the mountains
yeah,
that we have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hmm.
the greenhouse effect. So if you look into what Genesis talks about the firmament, the idea of the water above the earth gives this
Mhm.
greenhouse effect. And you have the guy in Japan who grew, man, a tomato plant to 140 feet using the firmament effect and pure oxygen, and it made like
Hmm.
1 million tomatoes or something like that. And basically, he was
Jeez.
saying if you put oxygen at certain levels that could have happened within a firmament mentality, like this idea of a group around the planet,
Hmm.
then like go to Google Antarctica. They're finding like animals with live bacteria from grass still in their stomachs buried in Antarctica. Like Antarctica was a thriving greenhouse at one time. Well, if you have a permanent mentality, you have a greenhouse level or the pyramids of Antarctica. It looks like there's like
Oh yeah.
bigger than Egypt pyramids built there. Well, if
Mhm.
it was all a greenhouse mentality, then you have the ability to have a controlled environment, and the whole planet would have been the same climate. You take away that firmament level, and then the waters above the earth came down during the flood, and you no longer have that greenhouse effect, and our oxygen, we start dying sooner. We're not living as long, we're not as tall, we're not as big as we used to be, and all those kind of things. So that's
So
fascinating.
one of the things that they just did earlier this year, they used like some kind of new radar technology in Egypt, and they found columns underneath
Yeah.
of the Great Pyramids that they think that the pyramid is like the tip of something else underneath.
Yeah,
Whoa!
those are fascinating.
Right?
The two chambers that are underneath it, and it looks like
Yeah.
some kind of like power structure. I mean,
hmm
those ancient alien guys might be more truth seekers than what I thought on History Channel. There, those guys are crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't say that because then I'm gonna have to tell my dad that he was correct. All right, I've been
One dude
making
with
fun
the
of him
swoopy
for like
hair all
10
the
years. Yeah.
Oh man, dude. Yeah, there you go. There it is.
We
So
weren't supposed to see. Go ahead.
So Nikolai Tesla had a theory that the Great Pyramids were of some sort of like power structure from back in the day. Like they were built to create some kind of form of like electricity or something
Yeah.
to power all of that area.
Not only that, when you look at there's pyramids in China, Mexico, and Egypt, and they all are in the same order of height and size and in orientation.
hmm
And so if you have the one Earth theory where you kind of put them all together, what do they call that? Oh, I think I lost you guys.
One
No,
Earth
we can
theory.
still see you. Refresh your page.
Yeah, hit refresh. So in the meantime, I'm gonna run a quick word from our sponsors. So I don't know if you guys have heard; it's pretty popular, but we have 1775 coffee. So wheat coffee is for the weak, and at Rumble, weak has never been part of the mission. No fillers, no fraud, and no settling for mediocrity. Just like 1775 coffee. If single origin, small farm, hand-picked specialty grade coffee that stands for quality, free speech, and calling out BS when it matters. Forget stale, mass produced beans, roasted just enough to hide the flaws. Dark roast hits like a Trump tariff. Medium roast keeps it bold without the bitterness. And Vitality Mushroom Blend, real energy and lasting focus. No synthetic garbage. For K Cup pods, whole beans, or fresh ground coffee, go to 1775coffee.com. Use code STUDIO in all caps for 15% off and start your morning with coffee that stands for something.
Yes.
Oh, and every dollar spent enters you to win a Cybertruck and $30,000 cash. So check out 1775coffee.com, promo code STUDIO.
Treat
Thanks.
your palate.
Nice.
Don't drink bullshit. 1775.
So we were talking about Nikola Tesla, or
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I got booted. Sorry.
No, it's like sometimes you
Nikola.
have to refresh. I think we just lost Dimitri.
So
It's
did
like
you
a
hear?
domino effect. I'm sorry, Josh. I keep cutting you
No,
off.
no,
You go ahead.
you're good. You're good. So we left off on Tesla, and then
A
there was the
Cybertruck.
pyramids, the Tesla. So
Yeah,
what were you saying
said you're
before?
gonna give me a Cybertruck.
Oh no, that was an ad.
Oh,
Yeah, that was an ad.
Cybertruck for everyone.
I was already signed up. Yeah, come on, man. I wanted my truck. It was Oprah,
Well,
I thought, for a
if
second.
you go, if you go to the website and buy something,
There
then
you
you're
go.
good to go.
Also, go check out cockedfirearms.com and use 2AB. Get 10% off the entire website. Also, go to goliathdefense.com. 2AB is the code again, and you get 10% off the entire website.
An American asshole.
There's no discount code for him. He was just cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool dude.
Goliathdefense.com. You can get some good holsters and stuff, and And then if you want to go to Cocked Firearms, he
Another Christian man. So we had him on as a guest. The guy from Goliath Defense. We ended up having church, like
awesome.
90% of the podcast.
That's awesome.
oh yeah, for real.
Yep.
Hey, we didn't even. I was gonna say we didn't get into that. We didn't get that far for me. We didn't get into the pastor side of my life.
Let's get into it now. You got time?
Well, you said you were trying to stay within the hour and a half. I don't know. I don't want to take too much of you guys.
This
Forget
is
it.
great content. We have a lot of viewers.
We'll make part 2. Screw it.
All right. Yeah. So I mean, going back to how we started this, let's go full circle. Then we'll talk about the camp. Born and raised in a Christian home. I was born and raised on a Native American reservation, and my parents are missionaries on a Native American reservation. And man, from a young age, knew that God was going to use me to do ministry. And so I came down here to San Antonio for a small Bible college. And while I was down here, one of the professors was working at a nonprofit doing youth group in public schools. And so that's kind of how I got a taste. You know, it's funny when you think of ministry and you're growing up. I don't know if this is true for everybody out there, but you think of like, what do you got? Youth pastor, senior pastor, worship leader. Like that's your options. That's the only options for ministry, right? It seems like, or missionary if you're going to go overseas. And come to realize, man, that's just like, no matter what you're doing in life, whether you're a banker, whether you're working 9 to 5, you're a minister of the gospel. When you're a believer in Christ, then every person is in contact with you. You're a minister to them. And there's so many ways to do that and what that looks like. God used us in the public school systems for 10 years. I worked in San Antonio public school system. I was a camp director, leading camps. I was an on-site director for them. And then I did 5 years at a nonprofit, a construction nonprofit in San Antonio, which worked as basically as summer camps. And then we would go work on low income and elderly people's homes that couldn't afford to do the remodeling themselves. And so kids would come in from around the country. They would stay in our facility. We would organize the construction projects for them and put them to work on these homes and just loving on people, kind of being the hands and feet in the kingdom. About that same time that I was doing that, a good friend of mine became a senior pastor at a small church here in San Antonio. Had been doing ministry with him for 12 years, and he called me up and said, hey, I was there with him on voting Sunday. They voted. There was like 20 people that voted, and just church was dead. And they just began a process of revitalization, just loving people. And God's really grown that. And so it went on staff with him about 6 years ago now, right before COVID, and been on staff with that and working through what it looks like as young people doing ministry and just living on mission with people. And God's really opened up some really cool doors, started reaching out with camps and stuff like that. Josh got to participate in that last year, but opening up different speaking opportunities with that camp stuff. Josh's senior pastor, Frank, is my sister-in-law's husband. He is not my brother-in-law. Frank, if you're watching, I said it. And God's just been doing some really cool stuff in that. And the opportunities that he's given for us just to share the gospel is incredible. So my whole life has been dedicated to ministry, and everything that we talked about for the past hour is based on my foundation and understanding of who God is and who Jesus Christ is and what he means to me. And when you look at that, again, if you have that foundation, if you have that ability to start on a solid foundation, almost can't fail. I mean, until you get prideful and you get your eyes and get focused off of Christ like Peter did, then you begin to sink. But as long as you continue to stay focused on how you can glorify him, the question that every person needs to be asking themselves when they wake up in the morning is, today, God, how do I glorify you more? And when you can answer that question through your family, raising your kids appropriately, appropriate times, giving of yourself, your time, your talent, and your treasure, and giving of that to other people, man, that right there is when you begin to win. And that's honestly when you begin to see the freedom and you begin to look at the chaos of the world around you, and you're like, man, none of that even matters. I'm just going to stay focused on what the truth is that lies there and who Christ is. And after that, everything else falls away, like they talk about. I don't work to make money to make money. It can all be gone in a second. I've had, like I said, my opening budget when we first got married was $700 a month. I don't need money. Money is a tool to get me to go through life. Yes. Does it help? Heck yes. Can money buy happiness? No, but it can buy a boat, is what they used to say, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm trying to get mine. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a saint over here. I'm trying to get mine, and I'm working hard to get mine. But I'm also working hard to get mine so that I can give glory to God. That's the ultimate goal. So, working in the mission field and realizing a lot of churches, all they do is talk about money. I realized very quickly the American church is run like a business. And so, if I can take that aspect out of the American church where I'm not focused on money, I'm not focused on the business side of it, I don't need to make payments, make rents off the buildings. We don't need that in our church. Thank God he's provided those things for us. Then it truly just becomes about glorifying God. We're not making decisions
Yeah.
based on money because, again, it's not where we're at. And so if your business is, you take that business side out of it, man, people are seeking truth. They're seeking relationships. And if you can offer them true, honest relationships, man, that is what we desire. That's what I desire. That's what you desire. It's what we all desire,
Yeah.
is to have truth in relationships. And ultimately that's found through Christ. But
It's really hard to find genuine people nowadays.
yeah, it's
It
impossible.
really is. It's really hard. Everyone's got some kind of form of agenda that they
Yeah.
want something from somebody, and
Yeah.
you know, my circle has gotten Josh, Rob, Austin, my wife, and my kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And obviously my family, but it gets smaller and smaller as you grow up and you start seeing like
Yeah.
how much people that you have in your life is just like there as empty space.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You
Not
know?
only that, not only empty space, they're life suckers.
Yeah.
They drain you. And there's moments where you need to be that for people, right? You need to be that person that is able to give of yourself freely. Um,
Hmm.
but there's also moments where if you don't have, nothing's being poured into you, then you have nothing to give. And so you've got to be plugged in. You got to have these circles that you just talked about where that are feeding life into you. And if you don't have that life being fed into you, then those people just suck it out of you. Your finances, your emotions, your
Hmm.
in every aspect of your life, they'll just drain you, man. And then you have nothing to give to those that you're supposed to, like your family.
Yeah.
Yeah. I recently there's a what's that guy? He's been popping up on YouTube. He's like the the leading expert on like he's like a salesman. Like he can sell pretty much everything. And basically the point he was trying to make was like um he when he made it big and he started like his business got really successful and he had a ton of money, he wanted to spend it with on the people he loved, and so he would always whenever they would go out to dinner, he'd pay for like the whole family, 25 people all at once, really big check. And his wife told him that you need to like your family is they're taking advantage of you like big
Hmm.
time. And so he was like, don't pay for this she was like, don't pay for this dinner tonight, just this one time, just see what happens. And he was like, okay, fine. And the waiter came over and he was like, all separate checks. And everybody like just kind of looked at him like funny, and then they all paid, and then pretty much nobody said bye, nobody gave him a hug,
Hmm.
and they were just there for the money.
Yeah, that's
So
crazy.
very interesting story. So,
Yeah,
and that's tough when it's your family, and it's like uh what is it, like toxic being like the toxic trait of cutting off blood.
yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, I'm Austin. I apologize
Yes,
that I
welcome.
am late.
Sorry about that. Welcome, bro.
I just got home 20 minutes ago from an 18-hour shift, so I'm I
You
didn't
might.
even know what time it was when when this
Mm.
started.
Well, we're
It's been
still
a
young,
crazy day. It's been a
man.
crazy day.
18-hour day, is that even legal?
It,
I
yeah,
mean, I thought that was illegal for minors.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing.
yeah,
That's
no,
crazy.
it's been a crazy day for me. So
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
thank you for coming on, even after the shift. Really
yeah.
appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
No.
man, of course.
Welcome.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to getting on here with you. So I was figured just
Yeah.
got home in time to catch the tail end of it. So I'll
Awesome.
Yeah.
get a little bit of chance to talk.
Yeah, man, for sure. So this is Austin, and so I had this joke that like even though he was born in the Northeast, I was like he got to Texas and he was like out Texasing other people, like people who were born.
Are
And
you in Texas, Austin? Are you?
No, I lived in Texas for a bit. I lived in Texas. Me and Josh actually moved down together with others of his family.
Mhm.
I actually towed his car down to
That's
Texas
right. Yeah,
with my
and
Harley
your
in the
bike.
back. Yeah,
No.
That's
I
right.
threw the Harley in the back of the truck. I towed his car on a dolly, and then had his brothers in the truck as well.
Mhm.
And he drove the U-Haul. We
Yeah,
hauled it
man.
down to Texas and moved down with him.
And we drove
Uh,
through a tornado.
yeah, we
Remember that?
did. I was just talking with the old lady about that the other day because we were watching
Mhm.
this new movie that came out on Amazon Prime called Twisters or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Dude,
yeah. The second Twister. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
the crazy movie. But I was telling her about that time we drove through the tornado and everything. It was wild.
It really
But
was.
yeah, no, I'm not
It
in
was
Texas anymore. I'm back in Maryland now. So
very
yeah,
cool.
but I miss Texas and I actually want to move back there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Fat-
just
One of the fastest growing corridors in the world is in Texas right now.
yeah,
Yeah.
In Dallas, San Antonio, and Houston, man, that triangle of boom.
no,
Yeah. Me and my wife want to move to New Braunfels,
Yeah.
but the interest rates right now are just ugh. It's hard to give up this 3.5 up here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't give it up.
You
Oh, I'll never will. Even if I move, I'll just rent it out. But
yeah.
100%.
yeah.
You said Austin. I will never step foot in Austin. My name
Oh,
is Austin, but I will never step foot in Austin again. I hate that city with a passion.
yeah,
Okay,
I
it
don't
almost
blame you.
makes me hate my name.
Is it spelled the same?
It is.
Is it? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
cool.
it is. But it almost makes me hate my name. But yeah, no, that I cannot stand Austin. I don't like it there. I went
I-
to a bike rally on 6th Street, and it was just yeah. Every time I go there, it's always just something going on.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. We've all got, every state's got its place that you're ashamed of.
yeah.
Is Austin that bad though?
It's
It's
not Texas, man.
It's not Texas.
it's not.
California.
It's
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
So, yeah, because I heard that's where
and out
everybody was
California is California.
Yeah.
moving. And you would think like all these people left California because how horrible it is. Why would they bring the same ideas and then do the same thing in the state they like? You left there. Why are you trying to make this one the same way?
Yeah, but there's a shirt I saw that I love it. Had a picture of Oklahoma on it and said, "Hey, Californians, you're welcome here. It's Texas, but it's Oklahoma." And I was like, "Man, it's perfect. Yes,
Dude, they're gonna love it.
yeah, you're gonna love it up there. This is great. This is what it looks like. Yeah, for sure. But
Just go here.
yeah,
Yeah.
There's bumper stickers that say "Stop California" in mine, Texas, and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty funny. But,
I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, me being in Maryland now, it's obviously not affecting me because I live in a very California-ish state too, as well, and but I mean, like when I was down in Texas, I was enjoying it as long as they came with an open mind, because I met a couple people that had actually, started to move when I was in Houston, had started to move from California, and I just getting to meet new people that come from different backgrounds and everything. As long as you come with an open mind,
yeah.
but yeah, no,
Yeah.
I
Well-
definitely miss Texas for sure.
You brought it up there. We talk a lot about, the two coasts versus the Midwest. But
Mhm.
really, when you look at our nation as a whole right now, it's rural areas versus urban areas. And
Yeah.
it's split down the center. Like California,
Mhm.
if you look at the political map, it's like 90% red It's just
Mhm.
The heavy
the
populated
yeah.
cities. Yeah.
And here's the crazy part. I tell people this all the time. As somebody that comes from the country and moved into the city, I say, when you wake up, and you guys are talking about cow manure early on in the smell right now. When you
Mhm.
walk outside your front porch and you look out and you see a field and you get to watch that seed go into the ground, you get to watch it grow, you get to watch it rain, you get to watch it get harvested, and you get to eat that seed. Man, you understand that, man, there's a God, there's something out there that grew that. When you live in the city and you walk outside and you see is concrete, all you see is man-made. You can see a city park be nothing, and then there's full-grown trees in it the next day because they just go and plant. You don't have any aspect of what it means for there to be a God. You don't see the glory of God every day because all you're seeing is man-made trees and cars and stuff like that. It's just a
Mhm.
different aspect, almost like
Yeah.
a different, clearly a different mentality, but you lose sight of God when you're not in nature, man. You just
Yeah.
do. You just
Yeah.
do.
One thing that everyone knows about me is I like to talk about how I used to work offshore, right? And but one of the things that I loved doing was when I worked, the night shifts, which was 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. Um, just watching that sunrise
Mm.
just over the ocean and everything, and it was the most
Oh,
beautiful thing in the world. And especially if it just lined up perfectly with the rig we were working at.
Mm.
And it's just like it was so beautiful. It's like, yeah, man, God did this.
Mhm.
yeah.
Just that sunset you can't beat.
Yeah.
That sunrise you can't beat it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And when you're living
Well,
in the city, you just don't get that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, some
They,
people say that happened for no reason.
mhm.
Yeah. I
a
can't. Allegedly,
lightning struck.
Yeah,
allegedly,
allegedly.
it happened.
I remember my first Big Bang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so like for me, like the Big Bang Theory is creation, except there's no God.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's what the Big Bang Theory is to me. Is like so we agree on 99%,
Yeah.
except you don't believe in the most important part.
Yeah,
You believe everything happened for no reason, and I believe that someone created everything that we see.
yeah. Like we all believe that something just basically happened and appeared, but we believe that someone created this.
Hmm?
You believe that nothing became everything. You know, yeah.
Yep.
I don't
Yeah.
get it, but
Because the universe farted.
yeah,
So allegedly, the lightning
Allegedly.
hit a pool of chemicals, and then there was life.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Uh, is that the new? Is that the new one or something?
I don't know what they.
No, I mean it's been around for a while, but yeah,
Uh,
lightning hits a pool of like weird chemicals, and then a single-celled organism was created from that. And,
hmm.
it's just such a crazy stretch. Like I
Yeah.
don't know, man.
You wonder what takes over.
They call it the argument is like the intelligent. Like how can there not be an intelligent designer or creator
Hmm.
when you look at how complex everything is and fine-tuned in
yeah,
reality?
Yeah.
yeah.
So even down to the firmament.
Yeah,
I mean,
we look at our phones, we see our phones, and we instantly know there was a designer to it. Somebody had to
Hmm.
draw it out,
mhm,
design it, build it, and make it. But yet we look at the human brain, or we look at the complexity of our environments, and we want to sit here and say it just happened by chance. It's
yeah,
Yeah.
unbelievable.
yeah,
On a
I
rock.
personally, I think it takes more faith to believe in evolution than it does faith to believe that we had a God who created us. But that's just me.
but I
Yeah.
mean, the thing is that a lot of them can't really truly explain it. Like there's so many missing data points that people can't explain,
Yeah.
but it all just makes sense if you take in the fact that a true God
Yeah.
came in and created it. Everything falls into place. But yet you take their side and they try to fill holes that they still haven't filled all the holes. There's still missing links in there,
They'll
you
they'll
know.
come up with some form of math to make it work.
But
Yeah.
then 100 years down the line, someone's going to correct their math, and then 100 years down the line, someone's going to correct that math. You
Well,
know,
just like with global warming, ever since the 60s, 10 years from now, we're all going to be dead. and it just keeps getting pushed
Yeah.
down and down. You know what I mean?
I just watched a video that got released in 1970 that said they were in the middle of a freeze, and that the Earth was going to be a frozen ice age in the next 10 years.
Yeah.
The story coming out of the 70s, the consensus was that we were going to be an ice age in 10 years. And it's just like,
Because they just had a cold year. They were like, "Oh,
I
this is
know, like so the ice cap. It was a really good video actually, except for they get to the point where we're all going to die, right? But it was telling about how the ice was growing, ice packs were moving, and if we don't, if it keeps moving at this rate, we're all going to be in an ice age in 10 years. I mean, all of Al Gore's predictions about, we're all going to die in 10 years. It's always just this 10-year mark, and it's crazy. There's some really good videos that talk about this idea of all it is government propaganda to raise taxes, to put a different agenda on a different tax, and it's all about the money. It's always about money. Always about money.
Yep. Yeah, in Maryland, there's a rain tax.
What does it even mean?
I don't know. I think if it rains, you get taxed. I don't know. I know Baltimore County, the county I live in, they have a county tax that is just to pay the politicians. It goes to nothing else. Nothing else. It just goes, and that's around like $3,500 last year that you can't write off on taxes or anything. It's just that's money. That's money gone to pay the politician.
I remember reading an article, and I just looked it up, and I found it, and the ozone is actually, people keep saying global warming and everything, right? But the ozone is actually repairing itself, and it's believed to be closed. Like the holes in the ozone are expected to be closed by 2060s.
But that's because of all the global stuff that we've done and gone, and cut down on our emissions, bro. Duh. Come on.
But it's been repairing itself for a while, and that's the thing. It's not like the electric cars. It's been doing this for a while. It's not the, I guess recycling does have a good bit. Like we should be recycling stuff, but it's not all the extra stuff that people have been doing, It's been doing it for a while. It's been repairing itself.
Oh,
so
100%.
recycling, they only actually recycle 1% of everything that goes there. The rest I think they send it over to Thailand and they just burn it.
Well, other countries, I believe, actually recycle. Like I think Germany's really big on like recycling and stuff like that, and making sure stuff gets recycled.
I know India's like number one, and China.
Oh yeah, they're the best.
Oh man.
For sure.
China. I love China. I know everyone in China.
Oh man, good stuff.
What's his name? The one comedian. He does a really good impression of him. I forgot his name.
You're talking about he's the new Bud Light guy. I love this guy. He's so funny.
Shane Gillis.
Yeah, Shane Gillis. Yeah,
dude. First of all, he's hilarious, but
absolutely
his Trump impressions are
China.
China. On his special when he was talking about. on Kill Tony. Yeah. No, but on his special, he was talking about like how Trump was describing one of the guys that he got assassinated. I forgot his name. Baghdadi or something.
Dogs.
Beautiful dogs.
Most people, you think you
came
go through
in
the door, not our guys. They bust through a wall.
Yeah, dude, he's hilarious.
Trump's actual like interview of that story is hilarious.
Oh, dude, so when during the election, right, there's a guy at my work who is really he works in our shop or anything, right? He's really not a big Trump fan at all, right? And I told him, was like, you can't deny that you got 4 years of like amazing press conferences and speeches. Like whether you love the guy or you hate the guy, okay, this guy knows how to talk. All right, he knows how to give a speech.
Yeah, better. I mean, better than Sleepy Joe. You weren't sure he was going to make it through some of those speeches, man.
Yeah.
That was elder abuse at the end there. Holy cow!
Yeah, it
You
was.
go look at Joe in his
Dude.
when he first started, and he looked like he was alive, and then you go watch some of his interviews near the end, and you're like, dude, come on, guys, like that was bad.
It was rough.
And what I didn't understand was how now nothing, like nobody cares, like he's not president anymore, and nobody cares that like we just let that happen for the past 4 years.
Right.
I was watching something on YouTube. I don't know how real it is, but it said they had a contingency plan if Biden died during his presidency. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That's when they were saying
That's
there's
a
nothing wrong with him.
designated survivor.
Just to get Kamala in there.
That dumb bitch.
I
Dude,
really
no.
thought that he was going to pass the presidency onto Kamala.
It's two different people.
Why
Oh,
would
are you in the
have-
lizard people?
having videos of him when he was trying to stop civil rights and shit? He was against
Come on,
it.
tell me.
Huh?
Dude.
That is not.
When he was against ending segregation.
Mm-hmm. Hey, you don't see none of those reels, do you?
Dude, one of the reasons why I got banned off of TikTok, one of my accounts, was because I put him saying the N-word all over the place.
You got banned off of TikTok.
Yeah, dude, I'm on my
Multiple times.
third account, fourth account, something like that.
Oh my god, that's hilarious.
Yeah, and one of them was because he was saying the N-word at in front of Congress like over and over and over again. And I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. Within like 10 seconds, account's gone.
Banned.
He was sounding like
For
Uncle
hate
Ruck.
speech.
He was sounding like Uncle Ruckus, wasn't he?
Yeah. He was dropping that N-bomb like crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But hey, Donald Trump's the racist though.
No, so this is the crazy part. I was in DC last weekend. There is before Trump, everything is like F Trump hats, you know what I mean? Biden, Kamala, yeah. Now everything is trumped out. MAGA hats, MAGA hat. They're selling them on the street. They got Trump 2024 flags, like the big flags that only the rednecks were buying. Now are in DC. I was like, what the heck happened?
Because now he's invited to the cookout. This dude's got multiple baby mamas. They keep trying to press charges on him. He's a felon, and he survived. Shots getting fired at him. This dude's like a real hardcore gangster. Now he's invited to the cookout. All right, that's why they respect him now.
Yeah.
He's earned their respect.
It's crazy. That was quite the run that he had there. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
People realize, hey, he's not so different after all,
Yeah.
No, people realize that he wasn't bad.
Yeah.
And what was in was the bad part.
Yeah.
I got a T-shirt to show you guys.
Yeah, there's this song called FJB by I think it's by Burden. I think that's his rap name.
Yeah.
And every time I go to DC, I put all my windows down and I turn that all the way up.
I think he made one about Kamala too.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Waiting on this shirt now. What do we got going
Yeah,
on?
right. Well, hey, everybody that's gonna listen to this, Josh is trying to find a shirt that says "Unburdened by what has
What
been."
has been. Did she ever explain what that meant?
No,
Does anybody
no
know?
way.
Outside of outside of his book with his comments about it being a communist slogan, did she ever say what she meant by that all the time?
No, she probably ain't know
somebody wrote it for her.
what it
Said
meant.
it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
She thought it was like this grand philosophical statement that like was gonna like take off. You know what I mean?
Oh man.
And that she couldn't like, yeah, she couldn't go a day without saying that. Like, if she ran for president, that would be her campaign slogan.
And the
She
bad
tried.
for dumb
Yeah,
bitches.
she tried.
She thought it was like some scripture. She thought.
she thought she was quoting scripture. Oh
Oh
man.
man. So let's end this. You guys good?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Any other
we're coming up.
questions, Austin? You good?
You got. I know you just came, Austin. You got to watch
Yeah.
the podcast.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'll have to
Gotta
go
be like
back
the
and
rest
listen
of.
to it.
Well,
Yeah,
thanks for
well,
the
hey,
invite,
I'll have to
guys.
go.
I
But to do
dude,
it,
Layton,
greatly
you
appreciate the
you
invite.
you have like brought a ton of viewers. People are super interested in what you had to say, so
Awesome.
we're very grateful you took the time to do it,
Yep.
man. And
No, I appreciate the
hey,
opportunities. These are things I love to do, and I enjoy greatly talking. And like I was telling Josh, I have an opinion on everything, and they might all be wrong, but I have an opinion, so I'm
Yeah.
always willing to share it. So
me too.
me too.
Mhm.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you're welcome back anytime. So
Mhm.
yeah, man,
Put me on for
guys.
6 months from now. We'll see where we're at. We'll see
All
how many,
right.
It's been
how many of the 10
enlightening.
we have down. So, but
That's right. Well, hey guys, thanks for
make
watching.
me a list of books.
Yeah,
for sure, for
that's a
sure.
great idea. Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
actually, well, yeah, I will.
You wanted to show it again?
Well, no, yeah, I did, but he's got. Dang, dude, he called me out on it, dude. He told us that. So he's got in the back of his book. I don't get paid by this guy. So you know $20 book, and it was good. Okay. In the back of his book, he's got like his whole list of recommended readings. One of the first ones is Rich Dad Poor Dad. Again, like all these guys, you have the Burr model. If you don't know what the Burr model is for real estate, BRRR,
Mhm.
go research that model. But you just got to be careful with all these ones based on debt, man. Like debt is a tool; it can kill you. So,
Mhm.
so you just got to be careful with that, man. And it's a good tool to use. You can use it to get ahead, but find that balance with it for sure.
I've actually been trying to do the Dave Ramsey debt free living,
Yeah.
and I've been not taking out credit cards. I don't have any credit cards. I don't have anything like that. I don't even have a car loan. When my car went out, I
Awesome.
went and bought one outright. I'm trying to do the debt free living, man. The only thing I got is my house.
Yep.
And I'm trying to keep it that way, and and not go into. I'm trying to get better with money, trying, looking where I can cut back and stuff. But yeah, I realized early on that debt is not for me,
It's
Yeah.
bondage.
Remember,
The Bible is
Yeah.
very clear about that. That the borrower is slave to the lender.
hmm
And man, it's really true. Really true.
Yeah. Plus, I
remember,
started
and
doing all the math on the interest and how much
Oh yeah.
you're paying towards interest.
May I recommend a
Yeah.
read for you called Becoming Your Neighbor? That's what he deals with. That's what he deals with. It's just funny, man. That's the book so I have my little setup here in my office. That's the book I've been reading. It's just funny that's what we're talking about tonight. But
Everything happens for a reason.
man, yeah, I just picked that book up last week, and I just read through it real quick. I called a couple of my investment buddies and was like, "Hey, what do you guys think about this as a style?" And again, like I said, there's so many different styles out there, and really the truth lies somewhere in the middle of using them all. I like Dave Ramsey. You brought him up again. Like I said earlier, his first 3 steps, absolute dynamite, and then after that, I kind of veer off a little bit. But his first 3 ones, you got to save your $1,000, get out of credit card debt, get your 3 to 6 months saved up, and then from there, that's kind of where I go a little different. But his first 3 steps are a must for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I've also been I've been watching on YouTube. There's a guy called Caleb Hammer, and he gives out really good financial advice as well, kind of like a young Dave Ramsey. He gives out really good. He basically does the same thing, but in long that Dave Ramsey does, but in like long form version where he's based out of Austin, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Speaking of Austin, but he sits people down and actually goes over their bank statements, goes over their debt, like he pulls their credit, like everything, and goes over it and builds a budget for them.
Mm.
And he's kind of more on like the hardcore side of like trashing on them. Like he doesn't go soft on them. He'll tell you exactly how he feels about what you're doing and how you're handling money. He doesn't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
But
That's
he
a
good financial advisor right there.
yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
And I'll
Awesome.
say this just because if you're thinking I'm not the spender, or I am the spender, I'm not the smart guy with money. So I have to read these
I'm not
books.
either.
I have to read these books to discipline myself. It's because
Yeah.
this is not what comes natural for me.
Yeah.
What comes natural for me is to give it all away and not to have any money. And so I have to read these books to discipline myself to change the way I think. So I've gotten more conservative because I mean, I was a leverage guy to the max when we first started. I was like, if I got $1, I'm going to take $10 out of the bank and I'm going to leverage it.
Yeah.
It's only through the years of reading and trying to say, hey, the truth for finances lies in the middle, and
Hmm.
got to have that balance for sure.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I'm I'm a spender, I do the same. I've been watching all the videos and trying to read books and stuff and to help me um get better with it. And I feel the more I do it, the more I stay consistent with everything. I actually just went through last month and cut back. Actually, big shout out to Dimitri who hooked me up on getting me cheaper on my Wi-Fi.
Yeah, man.
'Cause I
Dude,
was paying.
when
I was,
he told me, I was like, "What are you paying?"
so we both have the same provider, right?
Yeah,
He was paying, what was it, like $80 a month?
$90.
$90. I was paying 200, almost $280.
Same
And,
bandwidth.
and
Yeah, dude.
here's the
Yeah.
difference. Here's the difference, right? I had a cable box with like 5 channels on it. and
Wow.
and
So
I
okay.
didn't realize that, and they told me it was a deal. I was getting a discount for having for having the cable box, with the 5 channels. They told me it was a deal, and
Channels.
yeah, I didn't have
Yeah.
anything. I didn't have anything. It
Oh
was
man,
like
Coming and going, man.
it was like literally 5 channels. So I was
here's
like,
your sign on that one, right?
yeah, I know, I'm an idiot. I know.
So $110 for that 5 channel.
5 channels.
But I started looking, and I started looking where I could cut back and what I could cut back on, and I cut out almost all my subscriptions. I keep Disney Plus for the kid and Amazon Prime because we use it and everything to get our refills for like dog food and stuff like that. And yeah, so I kept like the main subscriptions that we use, cut out most of them, did all this, and just by watching, like I said, like the Caleb Hammer dude, listen to Dave Ramsey reading books and stuff, it just made me really dive into a budget and just look at how much I'm spending. And because I am a spender, I will, if I have money, it's gonna get spent, if I don't
It
stay
burns a hole in
consistent.
your pocket.
Yeah,
It's
if
like,
I don't stay consistent with it, and that's the thing. And now I've been really trying to work at getting it better over the past few months and stuff, and
Awesome,
yeah, really, really grow. So,
awesome,
Oh,
very
yep.
cool.
Amazing. Yeah.
but yeah, I'm an
Great
idiot. I know.
feedback.
I
Don't say
got
that.
you, Austin.
Yeah, I
Anytime I
appreciate it.
find something, I got you.
Yeah. Now my Wi-Fi bill is $80. That's all I
Yeah,
pay.
it's nice. With
I
tax, it's 85.
Yeah, I cut out like $200 basically.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
I-
guys, thank you. Thank you so much. We don't want to take any more of your time, but yeah, thank you again, Layton. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
God bless you guys, and keep doing what you're doing.
Yes,
You
sir.
too.
Thank you, sir.
bless.
God bless you too.
Make me a
See
book
y'all next
list,
week.
please.
Yeah.
You
I'll
want
stay
some
on for a
Not
little bit.
tonight. Not tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I'll stay on for a little bit if you need me to.
Find us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iHeart, and you can watch our streams live on YouTube, Rumble, Kick, and X. So thanks again.
Leave
Check out
comments.
Goliath Defense and Cocked Firearms. Use promo code 2AB for 10% off site wide.
Win a Cybertruck.
That's
Okay.
$17.75 coffee.
Oh,
All you got to do is buy
Buy coffee.
one thing. You get entered a chance to win a Cybertruck and $30,000 cash.
there we
And
go.
stop global warming, right?
Right. Weren't the batteries even worse for the environment?
Yeah, the batteries are even worse. Like they
Oh
did
God,
the-
no! Just
Stop
stop
it.
it.
Yeah, we were
Just
so
stop
close.
it.
What
I know.
happened?
Just stop it.
Why they ain't pushing electric cars as hard now?
Hit the outro. Hit the outro.
All right, you guys. Okay, love you. Bye.
Bye. Wait, is there an outro? I'm waiting for the outro. What are you doing?
Sometimes it's just black.
It's playing? Oh,
Yeah, it's playing.
Stop talking. Sorry.